Before we begin our meeting, I would like to acknowledge that we are in the Syriac is in the Mi'kmaq ancestral and unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people. We'll call to order. We have all of council present. We are joined this evening with Helen Young, our manager of finance, and Eric Richards, the director of community development. Approval agenda. Are there any changes to the agenda? Yeah,
I
Councilor Osborne?
just need to add, an item under 14 for in camera, and it would be, contract negotiation. And I'll make that motion that we accept the, agenda for Thursday, April the 24th, council session as amended.
Is there a seconder? Councilor LeBlanc? Discussion?
Question?
All in favor?
Aye.
Great. Disclosure of interest of the agenda items. Are there any disclosures of interest of the agenda? There are none. Approval of minutes. Are there any comments or concerns regarding the minutes from the March 24th meetings? Councilor Osborne?
Just one, the motion under 9(2)A, it was actually moved by myself and seconded by Councilor LeBlanc.
Yes. Change. We'll move on to announcements. Osborne?
I'd just like to, make everyone aware that there is a public information meeting, on Saturday from 10 until noon at the Stewiacke Library, and it's in regards to, water conservation regulations, and that's being, put on by the Planning Advisory Committee.
We have no presentations this evening. We have no written petitions or correspondence. We'll move right into business for the staff reports.
Yeah, which if we can proceed, the MPOW report and the Stewiacke water infrastructure supply update reports that were presented to council at the committee of the whole earlier in April. We'll have a few questions on the MPOW report first. Aaron Richards, our director of community development, is here to answer any questions that you have.
Thank you. Any questions?
I'll make the motion that the municipal physical activity leader strategy be received and that council approve the municipal physical activity leader strategy for the town of Stewiacke for the next 5 years, 2025 to 2030 as presented. And that council authorizes the CAO to sign the updated memorandum of understanding with the province of Nova Scotia.
Second. Question?
Question.
All in favor?
Very good. And the second report was just the Stewiacke water infrastructure supply update, and I'm happy to answer any questions on that.
Questions?
I'll make that motion that the town of Stewiacke water infrastructure and supply update report be received and that council confirm receipt of the WSP report final memo source analysis proposed groundwater study from PW 2101 and that council authorized the CAO to sign a change order with WSP engineering to complete the groundwater withdrawal application at a cost of $13,970, not including HST, on a time and materials basis. And that this amount be included within the 2025-2026 budget.
Seconder?
I'll second it.
Goodbye. Discussion?
Question?
All in favor? Carried. Move on to other business, the 2025-26 budget, and we'll pass it over to Mark.
Okay. we are, a staff coming back tonight at the last meeting of council, we were asked to provide a little bit more information, on the recreational operation budget. We can go over some of the, information that I passed along to council. Helen Young, our manager of finance, is here as well to, discuss, one update, that was made to the budget based on the request or more information that came in from Ground Search and Rescue. Helen, you want to start with that one change before I get to the, other information?
Yes, absolutely. So the Colchester Ground Search and Rescue withdrew the request for $2,000 for a drone. However, they have asked that we support them in the amount of $11,000. This would reduce our surplus by $1,500. So
What line item are you looking at?
we're under protective other.
Why don't I see it? Oh, yeah, okay,
Protection, fire protection, protective other.
okay, so they want that request to go from 9,500 to 11,000,
11,000, yes.
which does not include the drone.
No, it does not.
Okay.
And that reduces our surplus by additional $1,500. Bringing the surplus down to $528,086. $528,086. And that's the only change that we have received.
Another question?
Yes.
Can we go over, I've had a couple residents call about the council increase, mayor increase.
Mhm.
Can we go over that and how it will affect or not affect the budget?
You certainly can.
So,
So, question, will we say that now?
yes,
Or-
certainly.
Okay. So we have had questions on that. So in the budget, the council remuneration line has not changed. However, we did have 2 council seats removed from last year's council. In looking back at the current rates of remuneration from council, the rates have not been updated in a number of years, and we're not on par with comparable municipalities in Nova Scotia. So the recommendation, and give me 1 second, I'm just gonna pull up the numbers. So the overall breakdown, we took the 2 removed salaries, we just simply blended them into the mayor, deputy mayor and councillor roles. So no change to the budget. We brought them in line with current 2025 standards, reviewing a number of municipalities across Nova Scotia. The mayor remuneration would be 18,302. Deputy mayor would be $15,087. And council salary would be $13,587.60 for council members. So I've had that question come up a couple times. And as I said, there's no change to the budget line from year to year. We just blended the salaries in to make them into 2025 rates.
Thank you.
More questions?
Can we talk about recreation?
Yes, I'm ready to talk about that. So there's 2 things council wanted me to come back with. One was looking at the recreation budget. Aaron and Ben and the team have given us some notes, and we're happy to chat about them tonight. We're just looking at general ways to, potentially be more efficient, find cost reductions. Our team are always looking at that. In terms of how the draft came to be, the recreational operational budget is presented based on normal levels of services, how we've operated from year to year. We really haven't changed any standard level of service. The deficit, as you call it, or operational deficit, has always been there. It's how we subsidize recreation and offer programs in the community. We've just, as at the request of the public and council, we're being a lot more open and transparent and numbers and telling the story so that people are aware of where town money is being spent. So in terms of the historical levels of service, staff have recommended the budget and based on the programming services Aaron and their team run. That is the budget that is before council. So if we want to look at potential ways to be more efficient or increase revenue, there are things we could do. We could make cuts, we could increase revenue by looking at different ways. You know, one way could be, you know, cost recovery reduction options. We could reduce the number of our staff we're proposing to hire. But that would fall back on having Aaron and Ben out of the office and taking away from their regular daily duties to go cover off programming. And that's because we have guidelines, and regulations that there's ratios for camp counselors and oversight to children to staff. So we have to make sure that we cover that off. But those are one thing we could look at. We could increase revenue to offset program costs, and that means less subsidization of programs to the public. Which means we would charge more per program for after school programs, summer camp programs, things like that. Currently, the way we propose the budget, we're very much in line with the costs at other municipalities. So we're on par on how they're offering the programs and the costs that we're offering to the public. Things like downtown decorating, we have $8,000 in the budget. That is straight, you know, cash out. We put that in the budget, we pay it out. We could look at ways to generate those funds and, you know, get sponsorships and or donations, or we could look at not having downtown decorating, things like that. Things like the canteen, the operation and maintenance on that is about $4,000 in the budget. If we were to operate the canteen and do some of the maintenance, we could rent it out and generate a profit there.
So that $4,000, if I may, is just for steel doors for the bathrooms at the canteen. Because they're vandalized each year, so that's just 2 doors.
Okay. Rentals, ball fields, soccer fields, community center rentals. Historically, the town does not charge rental programs for children and youth. That are charged a minimal fee. For example, Stewiacke Stormwater Balls not pay rental fees at ball fields. Cadets do not pay for rentals at the community center. Those are currently not reflected in our fees bylaw. We should update that if that's the way we're going to operate in terms of offering certain groups the ability to use the program space for free. We can tighten that up. And from then we looked at event fees. So we offer a lot of different events at just straight cost of the town, the senior socials, Easter egg hunt, Halloween events, things like that are open to the public. We could look at ticketing events like that. That's not generally something you see in communities, but we were asked to throw some ideas at council. So those are some of the options that we have. Other than that, we're happy to answer any questions.
So I have a few questions with all of that. So through you, Chair, can I speak directly to staff? Okay. We take these one at a time. So the increase, first and foremost, I don't think cutting summer programming is, I don't agree with that. You guys are stretched already. But the increasing of the revenue to offset the costs of the after-school program and the summer day camps. Do we have non-resident fees as well as resident fees like
No.
most municipalities?
We don't have those, and when I
Okay.
speak about neighboring municipalities, they don't charge non-resident versus resident fees on their recreation programs.
And do they have non-residents in their program? Okay, good to know. Downtown decorating, what is that $8,000?
For flowers, like,
So is that the seasonal worker that we have?
yeah, and we do, no, not her fees. That's just decorating straight up flowers. We also have wreaths that go up, the baskets.
So I thought the wreaths and the baskets were paid for by businesses.
The wreaths are,
Okay,
it generated what, $1,500 in revenue, so yeah, it's not as much as it used to be.
okay, so it's not cost neutral anymore? So maybe we could look at that, to make that cost neutral. It always was cost neutral. And the baskets are straight cost.
Yes. To be honest, that's more of a public works thing that I'm not
That's
well
exactly
versed
what
in.
I thought.
Yes, so
Okay.
it is in the recreation section of the
Yeah.
budget, but it's not directly me.
Okay, so maybe we could get a little, flesh that out a little bit more.
Okay.
Maybe bring that back. I mean, I know it's only a little bit of a savings, but you know, every penny helps. The doors, I'm glad that you said it was the bathroom doors, because what I wrote down was, there's vandalism every year. Let's see what kind of
Mhm.
vandalism we get again this year. So are the bathroom doors, if we did steel doors right now, would that lessen the vandalism and the damage?
It would lessen the damage and the amount that they can do. We have steel doors in Dennis Park for the washrooms.
Okay, yeah,
They are in much better shape year after year, require less maintenance than the ones at the ball field that are not steel. So
Okay.
people can break through the latch,
Right.
and then the key, gets all offset and then they can't access the washrooms.
okay, okay. All right, that's. All right, and then the event fees. I do not believe that we should be charging for the Easter egg hunt. Although, you never know, we may be able to pick up a sponsor whereby then those funds could, you know, just stay unused for the year or a portion of them. The senior social, I think that was already talked about through the Parks and Rec Committee and there's a dollar amount already established for that. As well, same as Town Days is in a separate budget as well. So those were some of the things that I thought of. The VICs, interesting enough, we just had a, business meeting this morning and we talked about VICs. And the VIC is actually run through a society called the Stewiacke Business Committee,
Yeah.
Tourism Committee,
Yeah.
business, yes. Which is run by someone else. Now, do we contribute dollars to that?
Yes, 4,000.
4,000. Okay. And then they look after everything else.
Everything, yes.
So it's well worth it because again, that would add to your plate,
Yes, we
correct?
don't have to find a home for them. We don't have to hire
Yeah.
staff, all the
Okay.
other things that come with running that.
Okay, all right, perfect. If we can flush out just maybe the downtown decorating a little, then maybe I'll be able to answer some questions.
Is it just, you just wanna know, is it straight cost of the baskets, flowers?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I do
Yeah.
know the flowers cost approximately $2,700.
just the baskets. So not the flowers in the park, just the baskets.
Baskets.
And that might be something that maybe we need to source out. Maybe we're able to, you know, do a little better on that. And how much are the wreaths, do you know?
The wreaths cost 20, I wanna say around 2,100.
Okay, and I do know those used to be cost recovery. So if we're only making 1,500 on it, then we're putting in 600, correct? Okay, I did my math right. And I would like to see, like, when we have an adjustment, that maybe you can do a new flow sheet so that we can carry it through instead of trying to do it with a pencil. I think that's it for me right now. For the operating anyway. I don't know if you want to take them one by one or.
Big question whenever you. Yeah, question?
Not on the operating.
So.
I do have a question looking over the expenses that we put under the recreation center. Or under recreation budget. And I noticed, for example, the cenotaph is under that. And to me, I'm thinking that should just be a standalone expenditure. I know it's just monkeying around with the figures by $1,000, but the cenotaph is sort of a sacred trust to the town. And my personal opinion is it's inappropriate to put it under recreation. It's a standalone item. It's not gonna make any difference to our overall budget.
Right.
But that does raise one or two other questions. I see the libraries under recreation too. And I could be wrong, but I don't think you do much with the library, or am I wrong with that?
No, we don't do much with the library.
So again, we're putting things in another budget line, and it makes the budget line that much larger, but maybe it should be put, you know, under miscellaneous. And I know it's only $15,000. You answered the question about tourism, I got that, and I misunderstood the canteen, but I now have that. So I'm just pointing out that there's just a couple little items that I don't think really should be under recreation, but they should be standalone items or under miscellaneous or under other.
So I'm open to making changes, just following how it was historically.
Yeah, I know.
So yeah, there are some items that I think are in that recreational budget that really could be moved maybe.
Oh, yeah, that raises another question. Yeah, good point. I see that you have salaries under the recreation budget.
Yes.
Correct. I'm okay with that. But Aaron can correct me, you do receive $25,000 from the province?
Yes.
Okay, can we have a footnote under budget, under salaries for the recreation, that $25,000 is paid for by the province? So we have 228,000 for salary. Like, again, it's not changing any figures, but it just makes, it explains some things.
Yeah, I could put a footnote on that. It's right now, it's just up under our grants, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm not sure where it is at the moment. I didn't spend all that afternoon.
Yeah. So, the $25,000 is under, revenue, under
Yeah.
conditional
Yeah, I
transfer.
understand. Yeah.
So I can put that, footnote that into recreation.
Mhm.
Any more questions? I don't know where to bring this up, but I would like us to look at a tax rebate or a tax reduction for residents. Oh, I don't know where we put that in.
It's under operating, so it would be now.
That was a separate sheet that we were given.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've never discussed that.
Mm.
Is that something that we can look at?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can give direction to staff, we can come up with some options.
Well, I was looking at it and I I don't know. You had three different scenarios there. I was looking at the scenario 2, 1% reduction. But I don't think that we need to do a reduction for the commercial business, like just for the residential.
Correct. I see. So you were looking at what scenario, sorry? Number 2?
But not a reduction on the, like I said, the commercial, just
Okay.
residential.
Just the residential. Are we looking at the 1.48% for the
Correct.
residential?
Correct.
So I just have a question on that, because you have 10%, but 10% would actually be 15.8 cents, not 10 cents. So is it a percent or is it
It's a
cents?
percent.
So if it's a percent, then we'd be looking at a 15, like our current rate is 1.58. So if we're looking at 10% of 1.58, then that would be 15.8 cents, not 10. right?
You're looking at scenario one, scenario
Well,
two?
scenario one is no change in the residential
No
rate,
change at all.
which, and the rate right now is 1.58%.
Percent.
Or
Yes, percent.
we've never seen it as percent, so that's what's confusing me. So we've always done it in dollars, so it's $1.58 per hundred,
Right, okay.
right?
It's-
So am I right?
It's percent, it's not. It's 1.58% per $100 of the assessment.
So I think we're saying the same thing, but you're putting a percent, yeah, but you're putting a percent on it.
Yeah.
So it's $1.58 per
Per
hundred.
yeah.
So so in my mind, when you say a 10% reduction, that would be 15.8 cents.
15.8 or a
Cents,
10% reduction, yes.
right? But then when I look at this, it shows 1.48.
But I didn't do a 10%,
You did 10 cents.
yes.
Okay, all right, that's what
Percent.
confused me.
Yeah.
Okay. And I agree with the mayor. And again, we spoke about it this morning. We have a very good commercial incentive program. So, I think our commercial rate is actually still one of the lowest, so I wouldn't mind seeing a scenario, even a scenario of a 5-cent reduction.
Okay,
And how that carries through to the end.
Can I ask, in light of all the expenditures that we have coming up or we've been asked to do, how will that impact our 3 to 5 year,
Mm.
7-year
Mm.
indebtedness?
Mhm.
By giving them, you know, what you say, 10, your percentage decrease, how will that impact some of the bills we know are coming in our direction?
Right.
And how to pay for them?
I'd have to do a whole analysis for that.
Yeah, I get that, but I mean, there's another side to the equation. We can give everybody a tax break. But in 5 years' time, if we've got to double the tax rate, I
Yeah,
know, I won't be very happy.
yeah,
And I know we're not gonna do it,
no,
exactly.
and that's why I asked for a 5-cent comparison. As well as I think we also have to be well aware that assessment values keep going up,
I know,
right? And as those assessment values keep going up, we continue to either maintain our rate, which then actually increases our revenue, but is not giving back anything to our residents. We're just keep asking more and more of them. So I understand a 5-cent, reduction in the rate is not a lot of money, but it may be the difference, like I think it's probably on average, maybe $150 on a tax bill, but that $150 to, a family that is just barely making it could be the difference of them keeping their house and not keeping their house.
but I would remind you, we've also passed the municipality physical leader strategy program, and within that.
Mhm.
It talks about upgrading the sidewalks, for example.
Yeah,
And on Kitchener Street, there's definitely need to upgrade the sidewalks.
and that would be in our capital.
Well, I know, but
Yeah.
I'm saying 3 to 5 years.
Yeah.
Where does the agreement that we just made,
Yes.
it's now in force, how do we live it out? With some of the requirements now that it places upon us, such as sidewalks, just down here.
And that's up to us to actually, and staff to seek out funding for
I
that,
know,
right?
I'm not disputing
Right?
that,
So like, I guess I'd like to see this carry through to see exactly what it looks like.
but as the CEO keeps reminding us, usually the rebates we get is 1/3, 1/3, and 1/3. 1/3 from the province, 1/3 from from the federal government, and usually we put in 1/3.
It completely depends on the grant opportunities out there.
yeah.
They're generally 50.
Okay, well, Riverside wasn't 50%.
No, it was 1/3, with Riverside project.
Yeah. And I understand, and I've talked to the CEO that to replace the sidewalk in Kitchener, we have to replace the road. because of the pipes and stuff.
The pipes underground need to be
Yeah.
replaced before. we-
It's a Riverside project again,
Right.
and it's not in our capital budget anywhere.
I don't know. I don't know why I don't know if you're asking me or you're asking.
I'm not asking you, I'm
I
just-
don't know.
You just happen to be sitting across from that. I'll sit across from, Counselor Rogers Lang next time. Yeah. But I mean, there's some things that, well, at any rate, the sidewalk is not a good shape. And if we're gonna say this is gonna be our municipal plan for physical activities and whatever, then it seems somewhere along the line, we're gonna have to replace some sidewalks. So we've added some costs just by moving them over.
But I'd still like to see it.
I know that. I like to see a 5% increase, but no, never mind.
Anyhow,
Yeah.
thank you. Any more questions?
Before it happened, there is the next meeting.
Thank you. Moving on to bylaw policies, we received none. Citizen comment.
Are we not going to look at the water utility and the capital budgets?
We can. I was understanding that there wasn't any questions additional to what you had.
That was on the operating,
On the operating, yeah.
Okay.
yeah,
Sorry, we'll back that up, but moving on to the water. Question.
because I mean, we can, and Deputy Mayor can correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean, we can, if there's pass the water utility and the capital, we don't have to pass everything all at once.
That's my understanding as well, yes.
Do we want portions of the budget?
To the discretion of council.
So are we gonna look at the water utility budget? Operating, okay. So the only question I see is that we're running a deficit, we're not allowed, right?
No, we're allowed to run a deficit.
In the utility? Okay, perfect, okay, I didn't think we were. But there's no changes in the meter rate, right?
No, there's no
Okay.
changes in either way.
I have no questions on this. No. Anybody else?
No, I don't.
Do you want me to make a motion to pass it?
Yes.
I'll make a motion that we approve the water utility operating budget for 2025-2026.
Second.
I will second it.
Discussion.
Question.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Carried. Moving on. To number 10, the bylaw and policy. No?
No, we need capital.
Capital budget.
Questions on the council budget?
Do only because it didn't come in our third draft. Oh yeah, no, sorry. I'm bouncing back and forth between drafts here. The So, can you, just a really, really quick question, it's $150,000 in the difference between the second draft and the third draft on public work. What is that? It's not paving, what is it?
I did, a percentage increase on Lewis Street and Pleasant Hill. just because the costs that we had, done as VCL a few years ago, 2 years ago, I think now, and percentage to that for increased costs. So it was. Lewis Street. Oh, no, that's correct. No, that wasn't changed. Then I added 250,000 for the land acquisition.
So that's under water, right? That's the water,
Yeah.
but I'm just looking at operating capital. You okay?
I'm good, sorry.
That's okay. So could you combine them? Like, are they combined, like water utility and general capital?
No, they're all separated out.
Okay,
Alright, when you get into the detail of each year, they're all together in one listing.
okay. Again, I think that's why I'm confused, is because it looks here like it has both. It has the water utility, and then I'm thinking that that is general operating, but I'm not sure. So I'm just wondering if we can just, maybe it's just me, I don't know. I'm just wondering if we can. I've never seen the water utility in general capital. I've always seen the water utility have its own capital.
It is separated.
Okay, am I looking at the wrong one now? Can I show you what I'm looking
Yeah,
at?
sure.
So I'm looking at here where it says water utility, and then it says public works, and then it says recreation.
Right.
So, but it says 3-year capital summary. So is this the right one I should be looking at, or is there a different one?
No, that is the right one.
So,
So it could be the terminology maybe.
okay. So. I'm just trying to figure out what's capital and what's utility.
So it's the water utility capital budget.
And public works and recreation is under water utility.
No, they're separated. Two completely different line items.
Okay, but not separated as far as
Not,
this.
not separated in the summary.
Okay,
So your summary total, or your total balance to your summary. So for water utility, for example, we have, we have a half ton truck in there. We have, the wastewater refurbishment, we have land acquisition. So it's all in there together in the detail, separated out in the summary.
so are we able to bring that back and actually have, like I understand it's in the summary, but actually have what is under water utility capital and what is under actual operating capital?
More questions on it? Not on this year's budget. But I would like staff sometime in the fall. To project things out beyond 3 years, like 3 years, 5 years, 7 years. Because of some of the requests that have been made that we did not know anything about, such as the fire department from national. So I would like, if we can do that, and in the fall. Cause I'm very busy. So we got a bigger sense of where we may have to make some bigger decisions.
So you'd like to see a 5-year projection
Or 7 years.
or 7-year projection?
Well, the fire department has asked for some money, so that's gonna be 3 or 4 years out.
Mhm.
And then I know, Councilor Osborne has brought up of St. Andrew's Street and how maybe it can connect over to Highway two.
Okay.
Oh, for egress?
Egress, yes. And then I'm always on the Kitchener Street sidewalk. That's my favorite little hobby, but. And then fixing the sidewalks down here. So, I mean, we only do so much. I understand it, Mr. Mayor. I get that. But maybe a much longer perspective on what we need to get done. And we haven't even talked about a new library and like.
Working on it.
Yeah, I'm on the board, so.
Any more questions about the 25-26 budget?
We can the motion, there's no other.
Bylaws and policies, we didn't have any, and now we have citizen comment. Any citizen comment? Yes.
But really scared to talk.
We're fine. You can tell if you wanna go,
I know you had a teacher in this, and I used to be a teacher, so I like to address my audience, today we have eye contact. So my name is Brenda Grather, and I'm here representing the Nova Scotia Association for Garden Clubs. And as the district director for the Stewiacke Garden Club, I would like to address the council of town of Stewiacke. Currently, I understand that you have an MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, that is in place with the Stewiacke Garden Club and Community Garden Committee, and that there is a suggested change. The group has been notified that a new MOU is being offered and stating that they may need to relocate the community garden, which I understand was always in the original MOU. And, but the change came about just a couple of days ago that you're now, offering, them a new contract or, agreement that states that they would have to pay for the relocation of this community garden project. The Stewiacke Garden Club and the Community Garden Club committee do not have the funds to pay for this relocation. If indeed the relocation is needed at this time, I understand that the agreement that was current went to the fall of October, and there was no upfront resistance to that in the original agreement, although it's a really sad thing to think that we have to relocate this garden after such a short time in this centrally located area. Grant money, generous local business donations, and over 1,500 hours of community labor went into this project. At this time when food security for many people is in jeopardy, the financial support of this project is clearly needed by this town and its council, even though I understand you have many other commitments, especially listening to your budget tonight and where you're headed, but I used to also be a council member for the town I lived in, so I know where you're coming from here too. It is now time to plant these gardens, and vegetable plants have been already purchased for the gardens that provided last year, in case you weren't aware, over 500 pounds of food to the Shubenacadie Food Bank, as well as 25 local people in your community grew food, their own healthy food, I must add, and shared probably with many people and in the area as well. And my understanding that if they could expand this garden, more people would like to have a plot to grow their own food. Across Canada and the world, there's a big initiative going on for community gardens. Down in Halifax alone, there's many parking lots that have been converted into community gardens and rooftops and various other areas. Some people in Toronto have taken, and other cities too, but taken their whole front lawns and planted gardens and share. So these kinds of issues are really, really important. The Nova Scotia Association of Garden Clubs supports local garden clubs in your community and community projects and beautifications for many municipalities all over Nova Scotia. Now, as an association, we do not have funds to support these projects. We just oversee all the garden clubs in areas throughout Nova Scotia. So there isn't any possibility of this group giving money, because we don't have the money there. The positive benefits for this community garden in the town of Studiac far outweigh the thought of losing this garden due to the fact of lack of funding. I urge you to reconsider your support by keeping the centrally located community garden where it is at the time, and if needed, by paying for the relocation costs, because this will probably maybe put an end to the project because there is no funds to cover the cost of moving all these gardens somewhere else. And I do understand that you have offered other locations, which are questionable, but also in the agreement, I understand that you are up for other ideas of relocation, and the group is currently working on some possible other places to put the garden. But I urge you right now not to force anybody to sign a contract right now to move this garden within 30 days if they don't agree to pay for it, because they can't agree to pay for something that they don't have the money to pay for. So somehow your group, this council, this town has to work together with the community garden project so it can go forward. It's really important. And, you know, last of all, I just like to, this is just something worldwide we should think about. I'd like to remind you of a great humanitarian that the world just lost, and that was Pope Francis. And in one of his later quotes, he states, "We must commit ourselves to the protection of nature, changing our personal and community habits. And our community habits have to look after all the people that cannot support themselves." Thank you.
Thank you.
More comment?
Good afternoon, Mayor and council members. My name is Heather Killen, and I'm here today as a concerned resident and member of the Studiac Garden Club. As the agenda states, this portion is for the citizens to share their concerns. My concern today is regarding the unexplained request for the Studiac Community Garden to relocate, despite our diligent adherence to all guidelines put forward for this project. The purpose of the council, as we understand it, is to understand and address the concerns and issues of our community and to make decisions that meet its needs. The purpose of the CAO, who is appointed by council, is to assist in setting the direction of the town council by providing guidance and advice. So my concerns are directed to each council member. The Studiac Garden Club, which I am a member of, is a long-standing group with a deep passion for serving our community, followed all guidelines to the letter in establishing this community garden. We have invested significant time, effort, and resources in creating a valuable asset for our residents. Therefore, it was deeply concerning and frankly bewildering that we are being asked to relocate without any detailed discussion or clear reasoning provided by council. This abrupt shift demonstrates what appears to be unpredictable leadership and decision-making, making it incredibly challenging for community groups like ours to function successfully and plan for the future. How can any group operate effectively when key points can be changed without transparent dialogue? For many of us, our commitment to the Studiac Garden Club and this community predates many of your positions here. We, as a dedicated group, and we are here to stay. To invest the effort we have to into this project, only to have it potentially dismantled and taken apart with such a short time frame is disheartening and makes little sense. We respectfully request that council provide a clear, justified reason for this relocation request. We also urge you to reconsider this decision and engage in a detailed discussion with the Studiac Garden Club to find a solution that allows our community garden to remain in its current location, where it can continue to benefit the residents of Studiac and its visitors. I'd also like to add this comment. Typically, when a church property is to be redeveloped, especially after a demolition, there will be some level of due diligence conducted. This might include a review of church records, local history records, and potentially even a ground penetrating radar survey to check for unmarked graves. Investigating the history of the site ensures that the present use is respectful of the past. Thank you for your time and consideration. Able to be here, I have her permission to read her concerns. This is from Shannon Kennedy. I need to express my disappointment in the information that has been shared with me in relation to our beautiful Stewiacke community garden, and the fact that the town of Stewiacke has had a change of heart and only has given the garden club 6 months to remain at the current site. I was very excited and proud of the way our community came together to create this beautiful addition to the center of the town in such a short period of time. After the town of Stewiacke encouraged the club to apply for a $2,000 grant available to create a space for public active living, for supporting seniors, and addressing food insecurities. Once this was approved, the garden club raised additional funds and had community businesses support this wonderful project. The community garden has certainly fulfilled all the criteria of the grant. For me personally, I have made an effort on most days to walk or bike to the community garden, grab a tea, and just meet and talk with others in the town, and that I would not have this opportunity to meet. It was so refreshing talking with some of the seniors and the other community members and seeing the excitement of the food bank. For me personally, I made an effort on most days to walk or bike to the community garden, grab a tea, and just meet and talk with others in the town I would not have had an opportunity to meet. It was so refreshing talking with some of the seniors and other community members and seeing the excitement of the food they were harvesting and the amount of harvest for the food bank. I feel the location of this community garden is an ideal location because I believe that it shows that the town of Stewiacke cares about the beautification of our town and providing a location that is easily accessible for everyone. One day I met a visitor that simply came off of the highway, stopped at the park, and came over to the cafe and garden. As I chatted with these folks, they were impressed about how beautiful the garden was, and I was so excited to explain how it came together with the support of the town and community members. I understand that there are other areas in the town that have been offered to relocate the garden at no cost to the town. However, I truly feel that this is the ideal spot all to see and experience. It is my hope that the town will reconsider their decision on the issue. I also hope that if the town has other plans for this space, they are able to announce that information to the residents as soon as possible. We all know the absence of information creates lots of speculation. Thank you, Shannon McPhee.
My name is Kathy Newman. I'm the vice president of the Stewiacke Garden Club and also a founding member of the community garden. I'd like to read an email from Myrna Eisner. Hi, I joined the Stewiacke Garden Club this spring because of the beautiful raised beds and the wonderful produce raised in them. I'm a volunteer at the food bank serving Shubenacadie, Milford, and Stewiacke. Over 40% of our clients are from the Stewiacke area. The donations of vegetables from your gardens last year saved the food bank, over $2,000. It is very disappointing and discouraging for a town council to take a stand. The look on our clients' faces when they received fresh local vegetables grown especially for them was priceless. And I was the one that helped pick, and I drove it to the food bank every Thursday morning. But I really have to blow things up, okay? So here we go. Mayor, councilors and guests, thank you so much for allowing me to be here today. I'm honored to be able to speak on this issue. My name is Mary McGinnis. Tonight, we all acknowledged at the beginning, for more than 13,000 years, the Mi'kmaq have called this beautiful land home. In gratitude, we are Mi'kmaq, the ancestral and unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people. With this acknowledgement, we all are now and always will be part of Turtle Island, all of North America, and we're presently in the sacred lands of the Spanakity from Halifax to Turtle, and this land is sacred to us all. At the beginning of the opening of the garden, we were had a lovely reverend, revered and honored elder who came from Spanakity. His wisdom of the land been passed down through his wise elders. He prayed that Mother Earth would be fruitful in this space with a sweetgrass ceremony. He called upon all the spirits from the north, south, east, and west to gather us all in prayer in the sacredness of the land, and we will honor his prayers in the way that we use the land. This community garden has become a sacred land. Yesterday, I took time to walk through this sacred land. Walk with me for a moment and feel the ancestors who are pleased with the work of the Garden Club. Feel the echoes of the people at the food bank, who for the first time were overwhelmed with gratefulness for the gardens at their table, on their tables. Feel the echoes of generations of daycare children who will say down the road, I remember when I was little and we planted seeds in this community garden, and now we're raising food for our own garden. Feel the echoes of people feeding their families from the vegetables they grew there in the raised garden. Feel the echoes of whose flowers serve nature, and feel the echoes of tourists coming to the town to have their children play in the park and noticing another quieter, meditative place where they could have their children enjoy nature with butterflies and birds and bees. Thank you for going on this walk with me across this sacred land. All of the people, from the food bank families to the local families, from the flower growers to the tourists, all benefit from this sacred space in the middle of the town. This garden has been and always will be a sacred space. I beg you to recognize and honor the work of the people who brought this garden to life, and I beg you to honor all of our ancestors who heard our prayers to make sure the sacred land was pleasing to Mother Earth. And I know in my prayers, Mother Earth has been pleased with the beautiful community gardens that have happened. Thank you for your time.
Can I just take a minute? What are you looking at? My name is Debbie Crawford. I am a resident. And I had a garden plot last year. And you know how everybody's going on about mental health issues with people. Well, that little garden area over there was a godsend. Not just for the seniors, it was for me. I've had a horrible 5 years, and I gotta say, going down there in the evening and sitting in a little lawn chair with my little flag and watching my plants grow was incredible medicine for me. The people that I met down there was also incredible. And I would like for you all, I'm sorry, I didn't even address everybody. Doesn't matter, go. I just wanted you to know that part of it, because I've been around this town for a very long time. And last year I heard more positive conversation about that little spot, even from the people that brought their wares, like the lady that makes the sauerkraut and crafts and stuff like that, like they set up all along there. But I would be awful upset if I couldn't plant my garden again, and that was a perfect spot. Realizing, of course, from what I understood tonight, everybody's got something to do. But no matter what you want to do with that little piece of land, you won't get the same kind of response from the townspeople for whatever is going there than you will as for these gardens. And I can't tell you how important that is. So, thanks. Not crazy.
We got any more comments?
Do you wanna speak?
No, just that I have a plot, number 21, when I filled it up with white fruits and vegetables and stuff, I had a beautiful crop. I'm quite happy to do it again, if it's available. But, I can't say any more than that, I don't know.
Can you share how much you got out of the 4x8 then?
I planted 4 potatoes, I cut the eyes out of 4 potatoes. I got 5-gallon water bucket full of potatoes out of 4 plants. I got approximately 75 pounds of tomatoes off of 3 plants. I had beans, green beans and yellow beans. I had beets. What else? Carrots. Nothing up here. Lettuce, 2 different kinds of lettuce, romaine and leaf. And peppers, 3 pepper plants. All of that one little 4x8.
Once again, I am personally very disappointed that the garden has to move. It's a beautiful area downtown, it enhances our downtown, and like some of you other members of the garden club have had wonderful comments and compliments about how beautiful our downtown area was and what a great addition it was. I'll end by saying, this saddens me as well, without any hint of a rationale behind this decision. I have to wonder if this decision was made in the best interest of the town.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk to you today. I'm the current president of the Stewiacke Garden Club, but I want to reiterate, I'm one voice of many. Our garden club has currently been able to grow. We now have 40 members. And we've already assigned all of our raised beds with new participants this year. So it demonstrates how popular it is. We wanted to give you this evening some feedback, some positive feedback, because often for our counselors that work very hard for us, you get the complaints, but you don't get the good stories. You don't get the heartfelt outreach. And we wanted to present that to you as we do implore you to reconsider the considerations of protecting that space, supporting us, not working against us, demonstrate your values for our community, and understand and appreciate that we are one small garden club that you're interacting with, but we have many, and we all together make a great community. And a great community we do have. We're a smaller community. We interact with each other a little bit different than a larger community that sometimes loses that personableness. I know that whenever there's a challenge that's presented, we all pull together and do things. And with that spirit, we're coming here this evening to share our thoughts and our passions with you, because we think it'll be a valuable tool to help guide you. And as Mary said, value the sacredness of the land. Thank you.
Any more comments?
Is there any online? Is there any online?
There and then in the chat.
All right, moving on. Clear comments. I just wanna thank the council for the wonderful job, I believe, that we've been doing the last 6 months, and I hope we continue. We have the code of conduct that was due at the end of the month. If you haven't done it, please make sure you do. Other than that, I have nothing. I'll pass it over to the counselors. Deputy Mayor Roger Lang.
I have nothing this evening, thank you.
Counselor Long.
Oh, excuse me for a second. As part of the planning advisory committee, I was at the meeting with the developers this week. And no likelihood I'll be with them tomorrow. I also attended the Colchester East Hands Public Library Board meeting on the 22nd. And an audit committee meeting on the 23rd.
Thank you. Counselor Osborne.
I just want to remind people of, again, about the public open house meeting tomorrow. No, tomorrow. My days are
Saturday.
Saturday, 10 a.m. to 12 at the Stuyak Library. And that is being hosted by the Planning Advisory Committee. And it's really important that we have engagement from the town. So I hope that we see many, many residents out. That's it.
Thank you. We'll now move into an in-camera session. I'll call this meeting adjourned at like.
Don't need a motion to go in camera at 8:06. Yeah, remember.
I'll make a motion to go into camera at 8:07 p.m.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Discussion?
All in favor?
No, there's no discussion on that, so we will end up. Thank you.
Thank you all for coming.